Welcome to Sales Training for Podcasters, the podcast designed to better your sales process. We'll be sharing tools, tips, and techniques, whether you love sales or hate sales. If you've got a product or service to sell and a podcast, you've come to the right place. Now, here's your hosts, podcast strategists Doug Sandler and JJ Flizanes.
Welcome back to Sales Training for Podcasters. I am JJ Flizanes.
That would leave me on the Doug Sandler side of the room.
Always it is.
Always and forever.
So we are at part 2 of our bird series.
Oh, this is good. This one, you know what? This is my favorite because we're going to talk about
You.
me.
Talking about you.
Colorful, personality, emotional me. Now, last week we talked about JJ's dominant personality trait, or dominant personality bird, and that bird was the eagle. And while the eagle is her dominant bird, my secondary bird is the eagle, only to be outdone by the parrot.
So, the parrot. Very vocal, loves to share stories,
Whoop, whoop.
can get lost in the details, and prefers emotion over facts.
So always, I don't remember what that person said. I just remember how they made me feel.
Can be long-winded, always wants to be part of the conversation, and will share their ideas and stories even when not asked.
Long-winded. How can I make a long story even longer?
Tends to be more positive than negative.
Always. That is my style.
If you are a parrot, you will need to be mindful to keep your mouth closed so you can hear the whole story as your customer or coworker presents it.
Other people's stories are so overrated.
Be careful as a parrot not to exaggerate and try to keep your opinion short.
I've told you that a million times, JJ.
Try not to insert yourself into the conversation unless asked.
So when you said that, what I was thinking about was I reminded myself of this one time.
At band camp.
At band camp, that's right. Man, oh man, when the personality types eagle and parrot came to be, I immediately locked in on this one and said, there is, beyond a shadow of a doubt, the parrot is me.
Yes, the parrot is you. And you know what it made me think of this weekend?
How great I am?
Always. Always makes me think about how great you are. This weekend, we hired a contractor, and the gentleman's name is Michael Jackson.
Hello,
and I said
Michael
to Doug,
Jackson.
Before he got here, please do not make a Michael Jackson joke, which I'm glad you didn't, because the man's like 80. So
he was Michael Jackson before Michael Jackson
right,
was
right.
I was like,
he had the name first, I
right,
think. Right. But nonetheless, I was like, oh God, Doug's going to make a Michael Jackson joke to Michael Jackson. And he didn't, thank God. But, okay, so parrot.
I'm not that bad.
No,
really
you're
am
not.
that
You're
bad.
not, but you've learned.
But I have learned, not since the time that you and I have known each other. I have learned for decades. I know I'm oftentimes put in a situation where saying something, even though it's like the first thing that comes to mind, I'm like, oh, Michael Jackson, man, you got to beat it out of here, buddy. You know, it's like all of the things that I want to say, those things just kind of are right there. They're right brewing, like my little brain's going crazy nuts. But I hold it back. I know how to act around people's.
So think about whether or not you're a parrot. Now, I would say there are probably a lot of, from last week, eagles and parrots that are podcasters, because as a podcaster, you own your own show, you have to do your own show. So there's a lot of big picture thinking that happens potentially with eagles, and there's a lot of parrots because everyone loves to talk.
Yeah. Yeah, and they're very emotional. And, you know, the parrots are usually the ones that, hey, I don't want to just do audio. I want to do video too. So if you're a podcaster that's out there and your first instinct is, man, I can't wait to get my podcast going so I can do all those videos, you're probably a parrot. I can't wait to share my story over and over again. Who needs those interviews? Because I have so much that I have to say. Could be a parrot. Hey, I want to have people on my show so they can confirm how great I really am. Yes. They say something, and I have to one-upsmanship them. Now, that's certainly something I have learned early on in the game. I remember my brother, when I first started podcasting, he was like, you're doing such a great job of podcasting. Can I just give you one piece of constructive criticism? I said, absolutely. I'm all ears. Please tell me. He says, you have guests on your show. Let them talk a little bit more. So I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that's right. The guests are coming on because I want to share their message with my community. Makes sense.
Well, I don't have parrot in me necessarily, and I don't let my guests talk either.
Different, but because you're such a dominant eagle, I get it. See, you don't talk with personality, you talk with facts. You do have personality, and you do share it on your show. But you're more about the passion behind the facts and the facts themselves, and I'm more about the stories that I want to share and something that somebody says when they're a guest on my show, and I am the king of tangents. Let me go off on a tangent.
Right. So thinking back to the presentation we did for said client, and we created all together, the owners of the company plus Doug and I sat down and literally put together the presentation because we wanted to be on the same page. And I, after taking everyone's feedback and deciding on a structure, on a flow, Doug proceeded to skip around pages and go off on tangents. And I brought him back to, this is why we all got together to put it in an order so that it would have flow and movement. And he got so excited that he skipped around.
No worries. You have never seen me do a keynote. I have my slide deck and I have never stayed to it. But you know what? When it comes down to it, I get all the points in there. I have all the stories.
So, yes, you do. And
it's just how it comes to me. It's just how it comes to me. I want it to come to me. And if you're a podcaster like this, God bless you. I completely relate to you. You have a subject that you want to deal with. You have maybe an outline, but you never stick to it. It doesn't mean that you are scattered or ADD or any of those things. It just means that you are a parrot, and that is okay.
You're not linear. And here's something to know about not being linear, because there are a couple birds, I'd say, out of the 4 we have here, whether we add the 5th, we're not sure, but out of the 4 we have here, 2 are really linear and 2 aren't. So 2 would be more right-brained and 2 would be more left-brained. So the leader would be more right-brained, and the
leader would be more left-brained. And
I'm sorry, you're right. And leader would be left-brained, right, and the parrot would be more right-brained.
Yeah, more personality, more. I don't remember what they said. I just remember how they made me feel, and that's completely okay. Know that when you are a parrot and you are selling and you're in a sales situation, that you tend to lead with the emotion, how it's going to make someone feel when they accomplish solving the problem that they have come to you with. So if they come on your show, your guest to client strategy, or they're coming from your audience and you're talking to them about some of the products because they've opted into a lead magnet, you are talking about how, when they solve the problem that they have, it's going to make them feel. Eagles tend to be very solution-based, but solution-based because it needs to be this way, this is important, and I know it best, and this is how we're going to accomplish your problem. I'm a very efficient person. Why would you want to spend any time other than doing it the right way? And my feeling is, I don't care if I screw it up really good along the way, but the end result is I'm going to have a deliverable that's going to be amazing, and you're going to feel good when you get there. So for me, just know that when you are a parrot and you're in a sales situation, be sensitive to the fact that you might be dealing with any other personality trait. You may be dealing with an eagle when you're selling. And if you're a parrot and you're dealing with an eagle in a sales situation, they don't care about the emotion. They care about...
That's not true. They care... So, speaking as an eagle, I would like you to get to the point, because I can generate my own emotion. Because I have big picture thinking. I know what it's going to feel like to accomplish A, B, C, and D. I don't necessarily need you to take me through connecting the emotion, because I'm already big picture and I'm already feeling into the future.
An eagle just wants you to give them the solution, let them determine the emotion that's connected to it, rather than you be the one that gets... I get emotional, like I get more excited for my prospective clients because I can see it before they do. And sometimes as a parrot, that may come across as potentially even sales pressure. That may come across as disingenuine. That may come across as someone that isn't really connected with the solution, but more connected to the emotion of the solution. And I'm not saying that isn't a good thing, but sometimes, depending on the personality trait that you are selling to, may not be the thing that is going to help them understand and see the way into your products and services.
If you're a parrot selling to an eagle, you have to talk less. And you have to learn how to talk in sound bites, take your stories and make them tighter so that you can get to the emotion and to the solution without 15 minutes in between each one.
The other thing that you want to do as a parrot selling to an eagle is let the eagle solve the problem themselves. bring them right there, right up to the line, and then ask them questions that will help them solve the problem. When you can let a leader, an eagle, solve their own problem, they will feel like they've arrived at the conclusion all on their own, and they will be glad to write you a check.
I was thinking of the clients that we worked with, your enthusiasm, your dedication to, we also were dealing with two and two. There was a couple and there was us. And she was another bird we haven't mentioned yet. He and I were both eagles, and Doug was the parrot. And so you have this entertainer. And on the DISC system, it's I. So the parrot would be I, interactive. Parrots are imaginative, influential, intuitive, and inspirational. So if you want that infusion of inspiration and entertainment. That's the other thing I'm going to say about a parrot. They're very entertaining. They're going to make jokes. They're going to work the crowd. They're going to want to say things that are going to get people involved and laughing and feel lighter. They're going to do what they can to evoke emotion, not only for the participants because they want to feel better and they want to feel more effective. So if you're a parrot and you're selling to non-parrots, you have to just, know as we go through the rest of these birds, make a quick assessment so that you know how much of your parrot to be. Just like when you're a leader and you're an eagle, you know how much eagle to be. It doesn't mean you change who you are. It doesn't mean there's anything wrong with who you are. It's just knowing who your audience is, who can hear you. And that's the whole point of the series that we're doing right now. It's not because any of these are good nor bad. It's because you want to make sure that the bottom line is that your message gets communicated. And you want to communicate in the way that the person on the other side can hear you when you can control it, when you know it, when you can see the person or you know the group. Obviously, when you're podcasting, you don't know who the hell's listening to you. So just be you. Just be you. But when you have a sales one-on-one conversation or a small group or you're in person, that's when you start to assess and not manipulate, but you start to merge and meld into and just chameleon yourself in a way that is flexible and flows with who you're talking to. When I'm with other people of other birds, okay, let's say I'm with a parrot and a parrot may be my client or someone that I'm working with, I'm going to allow a parrot to talk. Because a parrot feels seen and heard when they get to tell their story. Now, I may have to rein in how long the story goes and ask a few questions to get them to get to the end of the story in a timely manner, but I'm going to listen. So if you're an eagle selling to a parrot, you need to learn to listen. You need to understand that the parrot needs to be able to hear themselves speak. They need to be able to feel accomplished, seen, and heard by telling their story and feeling their feelings. And if you cut them off, they will not like you, they will not buy from you, they will not trust you.
If you're a parrot, understand also you want to ready, fire, aim. You want to consistently and constantly put products out there to the world before you've even created those products. You want to say yes to everything. Why? Because you want to please people and you want people to please you. The best thing for a parrot is a win. When you're a win, my gosh, it's the biggest thing in self-validation that you feel completely like you're on top of the world. Wins are what parrots are all about. And you just have to be calm. You have to kind of sometimes swallow your words because you don't want to jump too quickly. The problem-solving person, the problem-solving bird, the parrot bird, is the one that wants to jump into action like right now. JJ tells me as a prospect that there is a problem. I, as a parrot, of course, I have the solution to it, and I want to jump in like immediately and tell her, I have the solution to this problem, and you're going to love me and the products and services that I have because of it.
Also, if you're a parrot, imaginative, influential, intuitive, and inspirational, you also may be offended easily when people don't want to hear your stories.
Because you hurt my feelings.
Right. Right. So now there are other birds, and again, we have 2 or maybe 3 more to go. And maybe you're neither one of this so far. Maybe you're not really an eagle and you're not really a parrot, but you know people that are, or your clients are, or you get annoyed by certain people who are, leaders and maybe they rub you the wrong way, or people that talk too much and tell too many stories and that you know, and this could be like you see this in older people or your relatives or your friends or your family. Start noticing who in your life and who on your client list and who in your audience are these different kinds of birds, so that you can start to adjust how you speak to them and how you receive them. And then also to be able to connect with them differently. When I work with people, and I use astrology a lot more than I use these birds because I've done astrology forever, but I'll instantly ask someone's birthday and I will remember what sign they are. And a lot of times if I've done the chart, I'll know their moon sign, which is how they deal with emotion, and their rising sign. And I'll know these, and this is information for me for how to relate to them in different ways, or how it's easy to connect or different to connect, or how not to take things personally, because I understand that they value things differently than me. Doug values how things make him feel versus if it's ever accurate or not. There are times, okay? There are times where he says, shit, this is not accurate. And he doesn't, because he's not really paying attention to the accuracy of the words. He's feeling the idea and the result of the idea. And I may question the accuracy of the words, and he may be like,
It doesn't mean, and I'm not just defending myself. I'm defending all parrots in general. If we tend to exaggerate and we end up having a sale made because of an exaggeration, a parrot will over-deliver as well. So when you have a service that you are delivering and you're a parrot and you exaggerate the deliverables, and I'll do weekly whatever with you one-on-one as a part of it. If that's what it took for me to close the deal, I will deliver that and then some. Just know that if you're a parrot and you tend to be one of those exaggerate, and I don't do it on a regular basis, but I do it as a part of my excitement for them because I want them to see it so badly. I will guarantee that product for the rest of your life, or I'll include updates with all of that. It's not that I'm lying. It's that I get excited as the client gets excited or prospect gets excited as well. And if you are a parrot that is not in charge of your delivery, like how you're delivering things, you can't do that. If you own your own business and you want to exaggerate or over deliver because you feel like that client needs that in order to buy your products and services, my feeling is go for it. But that may not be the case if you work for somebody. So just be aware, be sensitive to the fact that if you like to share and over-deliver, or if you like to overshare or exaggerate, that you better be there on the other side of that to deliver what you have promised to this client. I have a very good partner in Strickland over at Turnkey Podcast, and Strickland has said this to me many, many, many times. He says, you sell anything, I will deliver it. Because he realizes that the majority of the things I'm going to bring in the door are going to be your vanilla, plain, this is our package, here are our 3 options, buy one of those 3. But I deliver beyond that for those handful of clients through the year or every few months that I feel like need this extra bump. So that's just where I am.
We're going to go over his and my secondary bird type next week. So again, parrots. So far we have covered eagle and parrot. We've got the dominant and the interactive. And so know if either one of these is you, and also start to assess the ones who are your clients, the ones who listen to your show, the ones who you're prospecting. And again, think of those personalities so that you can start to craft your message, choose the way you deliver the message, and choose the way that you allow them to show up and the way that you show up in order to make the best impression, to make the best connection, to establish the trust, and to make that sale happen.
I'm excited for the next 2 weeks because the next 2 weeks we're going to cover bird type 3 and bird type number 4. And once you see these 4 together, you're going to start to see how they all can interact together and how they all fit together extremely well, and how you can mold your personality. Like I said earlier, or last week's episode, don't change your personality type. What I want you to do is be aware of your personality type so that you know how to relate to the other bird types as well.
It's also how you want to consider staffing yourself. As I'm looking at this list, There's me, there's you, there's Ashley, there's Michelle. I have one of each bird in my life working with me.
Doubt. I'm looking at Turnkey, and I can immediately tell you all of the personality types or the bird types that are in our company. Your company cannot survive without these personality types.
All of them.
All of them.
You need all of them.
Every one of them. Because, again, as we get into 3 and 4 bird type next week and the week after, you will see, and we'll do another episode that will tie them all together, or maybe we'll do that on the 4th episode where we talk about the 4th bird type and we'll tie them all together, have a longer episode. You'll start to see the importance of each one of these personality types, these bird types, within your organization, and the recognition of each one of these bird types as a part of your success for your company as well.
All right, so I think we're done with the parrot. And remember the colorfulness of the parrot. Just, again, think of that bird and how it likes to talk. Talk back to you, dog.
I have my my large parrot that my friends at the company that we did some consulting work had provided. You have your eagle.
Yes, I do.
And next week we're going to come back with another bird type, another personality type, and I'm excited. This has been another fun episode, JJ.
Thanks, Doug. We'll see you guys next week.
Okay, and can I make a long story longer now?
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Sales Training for Podcasters. To get additional information and to access more amazing content that will boost your sales game, visit salestrainingforpodcasters.com. Hey, do us a favor. Rate and review our show on Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your podcasts. Again, thanks for listening.